Hello students, welcome aboard the English cruise. Today we will do the poetry The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Something about the poet? Robert Lee Frost was an American poet. His work was initially published in England before it was published in America. Frost frequently wrote about settings from rural life in New England. Frost was honored frequently during his lifetime and became one of America's rare public literary figures. The Road Not Taken. This well-known poem is about making choices and the choices that shape us. Robert Frost is an American poet who writes simply but insightfully about common, ordinary experiences. Now, can we just quickly study the title of the poetry, The Road Which Was Not Taken? It's not about the road which is taken so much, but it is about the road which was not taken. Just keep that in mind. I'm going to explain you the poetry shortly. But before I go through the poetry, let me just tell you something very interesting about Robert Frost and his friend. He had a friend called Edward Thomas, and he was an English Welsh poet. Now, when Frost and Edward would go walking in the forest in England, Edward would often regret not having taken a different path. So, Edward would always say, "Oh, why did not we take a different path? Why did we walk on this path that we are walking?" Edward would sigh over what they might have seen and done, and Frost thought this quaintly romantic. Now, what is the meaning of quaintly romantic? It means strangely sentimental. So, Robert Frost every time would feel that, oh my word, my friend is feeling sorry for the road that we had not taken, and we have missed a number of things on that road. In other words, Robert Frost's friend regretted not taking the road that might have offered the best opportunities, despite the fact that the road was unknown. Now, the road was completely unknown to these poets, but the friend all the time kept thinking about the road they had not taken. This is exactly what is conveyed through this poem, The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Now we see that there is a traveller who plans to walk through the woods, and as he's walking, he comes across two roads which diverged. Let us see the meaning of diverged: separated in two different directions. That is, two roads are dividing into two different ways in a yellow wood. Now, what are yellow wood? Frost describes the forest as yellow wood. Yellow can be considered as a middle color, something in between and unsure of itself. This sets the mood of indecision that characterizes the language of the poem. That is, indecision, when we are not able to make a decision for some time. And now he is standing at the fork of the road, not able to decide which road to take. And then he says, "I am really so sorry I could not travel both." Now, why is he feeling sorry, and why can't he travel both? Because he is only one traveler or one person. How can one person take both the roads? It is not easy. You cannot do it. And therefore, when you cannot take both the roads, you are standing there for a long time because you have to decide, you have to make up your mind. Long I stood and looked down as far as I could. So now this is very important. Before you make a choice, you want to see how much you can understand with regards to which road to take. So he kept looking as far as his eyes could see to where it bent in the undergrowth. Now he looked at the roads. Where one road was bending into the undergrowth. Now what is undergrowth? The plants in a forest which only reach a relatively low height, such as shrubs and bushes. So that is what he is looking. But actually the road disappears beyond the undergrowth. He could not see much after a certain time. But he kept looking intently what he could see.
Then took the other, just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though, as for the passing there, had worn them really about the same. So shall we just look at the second stanza? It says here, then he finally made up his mind. It wasn't easy, but he did. So which one did he take? The other one, just as fair. Now what is the meaning of fair? Attractive or of pleasing appearance. Now he finds the other one more attractive and having perhaps the better claim. That is, this other road gave him more assurance. Like, he felt that, I'll have better opportunities, better life if I take this one. This looks to me a little more attractive than the previous road. Because it was grassy and wanted wear. Now the reason that he took the other road was it looked to him grassy, lot of grass on it, and it wanted wear. Now the road was wanting that people should actually walk on it. Wearing means use. Wanted wear means that people should use me more. That is what the other road is saying. Though, as for the passing there, had worn them really about the same. Now we see that the poet comes back to the thought that, well, yes, I think that this particular road that I would like to take doesn't look as if it is much used. But it is still hard to say. For the people who have used it had worn them. That is, them means both the roads. Worn means used. About the same. So now, so there was so much alike that there was just a slight difference. And, you can say that practically both have been used. But this one, which was looking a bit fair, was slightly used less. This is what the explanation of this stanza tells. And both that morning equally lay, and leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back.
Now we see that the traveler gets up in the morning and begins his journey. And he finds two roads which are there, which look so much alike. Equally lay. They are there, ready to be used, in leaves. No step had trodden black. It means they are covered in leaves. And nobody has actually walked upon the leaves, and therefore they have not turned black. Right? Trodden means walked upon. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Now he wants to keep the first one to be used some other day. This is what he's saying. Now the word oh means is an expression of sadness. He doesn't want to leave the first one. He wants to actually use both of them. But being one traveler, he cannot do it. So he says, I'll use the first one definitely for another day. Yet knowing means he knew it very well that he can never do it. What does he know? He knows that way leads on to way. Now what does that mean? It means a path from one place to another. So you keep walking. As you walk, you come across a diversion, then you choose one, then you walk, then you get another diversion. Now, what are these diversions? They are the choices in life. You keep making choices in life and you keep moving forward. You never actually come back. So he knew it very well that he's never going to come back. I doubted if I should ever come back. So he doubted the fact, even though it is his desire to come back someday to the first road. But he had the doubt that it can never happen. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Now we see that the poet is saying that he is going to tell this story of making this choice with a sigh. Sigh is taking a deep, single, audible respiration. That is, taking the breath inside and then throwing it out. Somewhere ages and ages hence, that is, many, many years later, he's going to tell his story. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. Now he's going to tell his story that he took the road which was less traveled by people. Not very many people had walked upon it before, and that has made all the difference. Now, when he chooses this road which was not traveled by very many people, this tells us about the nature of the poet, that how adventurous he was, how daring he was to explore new things which other people had not seen, and that has made all the difference. The poet Robert Frost doesn't explain to us very clearly what the difference was. So, we readers are actually left in a sort of a suspense. What we can infer from this, the meaning that we get is that the choice that we make, if it is a good choice, it's going to be a good difference. We will be happy and rejoice and be joyful. If we make a bad choice, then it will be regret in life. We feel sorry for what we did. So, I hope children you have understood this poetry, which is basically talks about the choices in life that we make. Now, let us see what is the rhyme scheme of the poetry. Now, you can see the last word here, wood. And the third line it says stood. And the fourth line it says could. So, it is A, B, A, B. Wood, stood, could. Both, growth, undergrowth. So the rhyme scheme is A, B, A, B. Now, let us see what is the literary device used in the poem. The literary device used is a metaphor. Now, what is a metaphor? A metaphor is a figure of speech in which a word or phrase is applied to an object or action which it is not literally applicable. Now I'm going to explain that to you. Let us see the example. Frost uses the road as a metaphor for journey of life. And walking on this road, the poet reaches a fork in the road. The fork is a metaphor for a life-changing choices in which a compromise is not possible. The traveler must go one way or the other. The compromise here means you cannot travel both the roads. You have to choose one. Now, the second thing that we are going to see here is that there is symbolism which is used in the poem. The road itself symbolizes the journey of life, and the images of a road forking into two parts symbolizes a choice. As for the color, as I already mentioned before, that Frost describes the forest as a yellow wood. Yellow can be considered as a middle color, something in between and unsure of itself. This sets the mood of indecision that characterizes the language of the poem. So, we see, children, that this poem The road not taken talks about the road which was left behind. At the same time, it also talks about the number of choices that we as students now will have to make in life. So we have to be very careful, very serious, because a single mistake can actually lead us to an entirely different direction. And then we can say that that has made all the difference. So why don't we have choices in life which are correctly thought, wisely thought choices that will lead us to the right direction? And as you walk on the roads, or whatever choice or option you take in life, you will find that every road is going to be ultimately the same, because it requires a lot of hard work, on the way. So any choice that you make, you'll have to work hard to achieve success. So I really thank you, children, for joining me today. I hope you have understood the poetry.